Hello class, Professor Watson. This week's discussion is going to be on offensive versus defensive attacks and the considerations for both, when to use them and when not to. Um, One of the first things I consider, or I would consider, I haven't had a chance to be in the officer role yet, is to assess the scene and see whether or not that us as the firefighter, if our life is going to be in danger if we make an offensive attack versus a defensive attack. So the first consideration I would make is going to be my life safety. Next, I'm going to think about, is there any possibility of occupants in there, any victims to rescue, or maybe if family is out already and they say, hey, we've got pets in there that we really want you guys to try to save. That's another consideration that may make us be a little bit more aggressive and do an offensive versus defensive attack. The next, of course, is property. We always want to save property. And then the last is the exposures and hazards. We may have to consider maybe being more aggressive, trying to get the fire out if there is hazards around that scene that could cause potential danger to us. An example, maybe like a little strip mall plaza where a gas station is. Maybe the pizza place in that little strip mall catches fire next to the gas station, and you're thinking we need to get this out as fast as we possibly can before something really bad happens here. So those are just some considerations. When you're fighting a fire that's borderline, out of control or right at the ready to converge, I've never had to make that decision before. I'm not sure what I would do. I think those first couple minutes of assessing it to find out if there was possible victims, find out how that roof is holding up. Those are going to be the considerations I make. Some things to think about is that the building type. Different buildings are going to have different occupancy loads. So say we did a discussion, I think it was an essay post. We have a 9-story assisted living facility. You're going to have a ton of people in that building, and your concern is going to be, of course, your safety first, but then rescue these victims. So you're going to have to go and see if you have the resources available, manpower on scene to be able to do this, and put the fire out at the same time. So there's just a lot of different things to consider when making these offensive versus defensive attacks. So this is all kind of offensive, all the things you consider for an offensive attack. For defensive, it's more or less you're going to want to contain that fire to its origin or the building that the fire is in, and protect exposures. And then that's kind of the tactic that is most common. I mean, I've been on both offensive and defensive attacks. As firefighters, we like to be heroes. We like to go in there and make sure that everything's okay, that there's no people involved, that there's no pets. So, I mean, we prefer the offensive attack, but defensive is something that, as an officer, you really have to consider. You don't want to put your crew in jeopardy or danger going into, say, maybe an abandoned structure, just, thinking, oh, we have to check it out. But it's a big consideration you have to make. So some of the things I'll recap on. Offensive attacks, you make an attack, and it's going to be an interior attack. Your resources are going to be focused to the interior. You're going to have to make sure that your life is safe. You're going to try to save victims or try to rescue people or pets. You're going to try to save as much property as possible. And then, possible exposure hazards. If there's going to be dangers, put that fire out as quick as you can before that becomes an issue. And then defensive attack is when that fire is out of control. It's kind of a lost cause at that point. You can't do anything but protect exposures and do what you can to just put that fire out in general. And that's not going to be interior. That's going to be all exterior. You're going to be using elevated streams, deck guns, whatever it may be, to put that fire out. So then, like I said before, resources available on scene are going to dictate whether or not you can be extremely aggressive on a larger scale fire, because you may have the manpower to make an attack on the fire, but you may not have the manpower to sustain that attack to be effective on a fire. So a lot of considerations, but Like I said, as firefighters, we like offensive. We like to save the day, but sometimes defensive is a more suitable, more safe uh, decision. So that's my post. Look forward to you guys'. Thanks.